In Roblox's Purgatory, there is only one definitive correct path, and let me explain. That path would be the Force path, along with a few others. However, the path of the Force is the greatest path, and let me explain. With range, you have Evade, Maestro, Phantom Step, Reaper, and Eclipse. Those are all good options. However, you only go forward. You don't exactly deal much damage. You just stay in this kind of one straight line of just damage. There's no real AoE attack to it. With power, you get Wrist Update, Adrenaline, Warcry, and Parry. However, Warcry, Parry, much like Eclipse and Cleave, are special abilities, so you can't have both of these. You can only choose between one. The Agility. Agility is a lot of fun. You can have all of these. Untouchable, Haste, Fleetfoot, Shadow Step, Perfect Dodge. But eventually you move so fast that your character just ceases to exist. You become invisible to yourself and it makes it even harder to dodge. That, and you're not exactly getting many dodges at all because you are trying to dodge when you're already not even there anymore because you're so fast. Vitality. Survivor, Health Pack, Juggernaut, Second Wind, and Sacrifice. Juggernaut and Second Wind are pretty good. Health Pack giving plus 10 HP, Juggernaut giving plus 50 HP, Sacrifice giving plus 75 HP. But for each teammate that you have, when they take damage, you absorb half of it. Unless you're in a solo game, Sacrifice is useless. Second Wind is a great option. It brings you back to life after you die. But that's not very good for the people who don't die very much, now is it? Right? Now, with Precision. Precision isn't bad, but it's a very short path. You have Deadeye and Rhythm. That's it. That's all you have, and that's all you get. Now, of course, you can combine certain abilities, such as Vitality and Agility, make momentum, but that can be easily canceled out by just getting hit once. Vitality and Power, which make Giant Slayer. However, that doesn't apply to everything. Force and Power, which makes Cyclone, a very good option, which brings my point back to the Force. Vitality and Force, Thorns, whenever you get injured, you deal triple the damage back to your attackers. That's great if you don't like being touched, because if you can be touched and regenerate stuff off of being touched, this is your go-to. Assassin is a combination of both power and agility, which deals 5 damage from behind your enemy. That doesn't help a lot when you're trying to focus on every enemy at once, now is it? Range and Precision make Overload, which means whenever you make a critical strike, you deal an overload of damage, right? However, that requires a lot more build-up to just that, right? Now, Vitality and Precision make Bane, which whenever you deal a critical strike to an NPC that's below 30% HP, it just executes them immediately, and for a boss, it just deals an extra 5. That's alright. Range plus Force equals Dismantle, which a secondary off of that is Cleave. Dismantle is an awesome ability. You get insane range with it. You can cut from a hella distance, right? And Cleave is even better because from way outside of many boxes zones of being able to be injured is where the Cleave ability, where you just send out a rush of power. Now, Power and Range is some of the only good ability outside of the Force, because chains the enemy as we speak. Cascade is the same thing as change. Now, once you get Force and you go to Black Hole, Cataclysm, and then Domino Effect, right? Then, once you deal one singular slam, you're affecting the entire area around you. You're pulling them in. You are making them collide with each other, and that deals 10 extra damage to each, and it stacks over and over again. Such as if 2 NPCs were to bounce into each other, they both take 10 damage. But if 3 NPCs were to bounce into each other, they both take 20. And if 4 NPCs, they would both take 30, and so on. Cataclysm just makes your range insane, and a lot more damage. But this becomes even better when paired with precision and a certain ability. What you are seeing right here is not what we want you to focus on. We want you to focus on this number 1. This number 1 is called Black Flash. What it does is it makes it so your critical damage gets multiplied by so much that you can deal hundreds of damage within a single swing. Its drawback, though, is that your critical strike chance is divided by 4. However, if we go back previously to this example right here, the precision, deadeye, and rhythm improve your ability of dealing critical damage to the point where it's just actually worth it. Not to mention, bundle, which is whenever you use a slam on something, grants you a critical strike chance, is directly within that path. Now that we've established that slam is obviously the best path no matter what you do, let's take a look at what you have to do. These are the stats you should have for Wolf. You should have this one, which deals +2, this one, which deals +2, and this one, which does +3 damage to isolated mobs, which just means that they're not like to non-isolated mobs. It just means that to non-boss mobs. However, why shouldn't we do this one and this one, you may ask? Well, let's take a look. This top one right here deals +2 melee damage. Slam isn't melee damage. This bottom one is see 30% health enemies and deal +3 damage to them. You don't exactly need that. So now what's next is the bear. Now with the bear, you have +25 health, +5 health after healing each wave, +35 health, and +15 health each wave. So you regenerate 20 health total off of each wave, which is the whole reason we want this path. Now this node right here makes it so every 50 damage you take, you get +10 health, which is more healing. The reason we wouldn't want this side path right here of more health is because we have a certain contract that we're actually taking up. This silver colored contract right here is called Vampire. What it does is that it makes your max health reduced down to 65, your starting is 100, but it makes it so every 3 kills you get, you regenerate 5 health. That's a lot of health when you're dealing with something that kills everything in the area around you. You're practically immortal. Now this is the Fox path, our final path that we really do want. See, this upgrade is +2 damage. This one is increased movement speed, which we don't really need that much. However, it's nice to have after this one. Now this one deals +3 damage to multi-hitting attack target stuff. So when I deal, or you, because you will be using this build afterwards, you deal that giant slam that brings everyone in, hits each other, and hits everything. That's a multi-target. Everything's getting +3 right there. Now this one, well, let's say you don't have a lot of people and you just have one singular person. Well, that's what this node's got you covered for, because this one deals +25% damage of whatever you're originally dealing to that one person back to them. So you're dealing 125% of your damage if it's just a singular target. How cool is that? And finally, not last or least, our third contract that we need is the giant contract. Why do we want the giant contract? Well, the giant contract is obviously going to be needed because it makes you bigger, yes. It makes you have +1 damage, though. And for slam damage, which is what we've been working on, it gets +3, which is a lot of damage once you get multiplied by the Black Flash critical chance, which, by the way, makes you deal hundreds of damage. So now you have this, and now you're suddenly dealing hundreds, like 110 or 115 damage per slam to an NPC, then to another NPC. It just gives you that dopamine rush. Now, let's talk about what you need to choose in order to even get to this point. So first, always start with precision. Precision will be your best friend when you're running that Black Flash build. You do precision, then force. After you choose force, you immediately go to bundle, because then you will have a greater critical strike chance. Off of bundle, then you go to shatter, and then to black hole first. Always choose black hole first over cataclysm. Why? because if you choose Cataclysm first and then Black Hole, your range will be much smaller, such as this will be the Cataclysm Black Hole range, while the Black Hole Cataclysm range is more like this, much bigger. If you do not have Shatter available to you at this time, that is fine. Just choose Brute Force and Domino Effect first. But once you have all of this and Bundle, go for Deadeye, then Rhythm. Now, what is the best after this? Because you still have 2 more upgrades you can make. Well, my friend, let me tell you. All you need to do is grab Vitality and Force. Because with that Vampire, you're going to be regenerating a lot, which means you can risk having Thorns. You can deal that 3rd damage back to those who are being slammed back into you. In total, I think that with 100% biasy, of course, saying that every other path is terrible, Slam is by far the best path. Always go for the Slam Spam Specialist. Thank you. Have a good night.